right. We finally have a video. Hooray! Alright, let's get right into this. This will be kind of a vocalization of the presentation that I just sent everyone, or just added to the Google Drive. So in the Google Drive, there's a Google presentation called Nations. You can open that up and take a look at all the nations and different things about them. I'm going to quick talk about the nations, different things about them that could be valuable to know. So we're going to start in alphabetical order along with the presentation with the Amaluran Empire. Now, the Amaluran Empire is this light blue empire right here, and it is a nation defined by the great amounts of power that it has had in the past, even into the future. A long time ago, a short time ago, the most recent wars that have taken place was the Amaluran conquest, in which they went from a nation that was about this size, and then they went to and conquered these these provinces down here, these four provinces down here. They were able to take on for themselves. And today, though, they are a lot more peaceful, and they like working together with people. Inside of the Amaluran Empire is the Wittenbach peacekeeping division that is inside of Wittenbach, which is pretty much at the center of the entire continent of Morsheth. The Wittenbach peacekeeping division is going to be a core part of our story, and will most likely be kind of the chariot on which we ride. Story-wise. So keep that in mind. One thing to note about the Amaluran Empire is that they are specifically liking power. They also highly value self-sufficiency, the traits of being cunning or being observant or being kind. These are different traits, but they all kind of fit what Amalura is about. Amalura has an emperor who lives inside of the capital of Bigravra, and this emperor is Calvinus Amalura. So Emperor Calvinus Amalura has different advisors that assist him in his reign, and inside of Amalura are different capitancies, and these capitancies are places that they have that they pretty much just rule with straight power, though they also have a few baronies that are a little bit more lax, and a little bit more of the quote-unquote true Amaluran people. In terms of how they feel about the nations around them, they like the Artwaden tribes, but pretty much everyone else they're not the biggest fan of, though they are kind of up for they are up for like peaceful and friendly negotiations with people. So that's Amalura in a nutshell. One thing to know is imports. They import pelts and corn, and they export horses, wheat, and glass. So just a few fun facts about Amalura. Next up, we'll be talking about the Artwaden tribes. There's a thing to note. Each province is a different tribe. So there's the Palace tribe. There is the Castablek tribe, which is one of the biggest and the strongest tribes. There is also the Alaya tribe. Over on the west side, there are two more tribes, the Jeroenle tribe and the Abasiv tribe. Things to know about the Artwaden tribes is that they have a lot, although they are all called Artwaden tribes, they are all very different. Different ways of viewing things, and so yeah, there's no normal quote-unquote person inside of the Artwaden tribes. Each one is very different. Things to know about Artwaden tribes is their structure are primarily different elder chief tribes. There are just simple chief tribes where there's just one leader. Some of them have head families that rule over different areas inside the tribes. Their imports, for fun facts, is wheat. Their exports are wood, game, corn, pelts, and glass. So in terms of diplomacy, some of them support individuality. Some of the tribes want to just be by themselves and just do their own thing. Some of them support being with the Kingdom of Kalma, particularly, and that is the Abasiv tribe, which is good friends with Kalama. Some of them support Amalura. Some of them, particularly the Castablek tribe, is considering being good friends with Amalura. Um, yeah, things to know is that religiously, they have once again a widespread of religions, but um, for the most part, they believe in a thing called Arzosian spiritualism, in which they kind of have this worship for the sun, ethereal, which kind of says basically at some point we all die, and it's either going to be we're going to kind of the heat death of the universe kind of thing, of like we're going to return to the sun at some point, and that's going to be either a very peaceful and wonderful thing, or it's going to be nothing at all. Things to know about the leaders: there are 5 different main leaders, which would be Haziel for the Palace tribe, Ashima for the Elia tribe. Then we have Vash for New Castablek. So Castablek this is New Castablek, and they also have Colony up here, which is Castablek. For Giralona, we have Warrenmuth, and for Abasiv, we have Shoreham, or Shoreham, as you might pronounce it. Moving on, we're going alphabetical, so Brotherhood of Kennebonia. Now, the Brotherhood of Kennebonia is a very isolationist. They haven't, in the recent years, haven't really connected with the mainland nations, so they do a lot of their things on their own. Key notes about them is that, well, fun notes about them is that they import wheat and bricks. That's like the only thing that they really import, and economically they also export fish, game, nets, exotic animals, and wood. But most of that export just happens with, and import happens with Varantesia directly or through them, and for the most part they're just going to be on their own. Nobody really knows what happens inside of Kennebonia. What happens in Kennebonia stays in Kennebonia. Ideals: they're cautious, they're calculated, they believe in the protection of their people, they believe in peace and helping one another, but that also comes with the caution of, if we want to help each other, we got to just stick together. They have a major religion which is called Levibasan. Levibasan is a cautious view of life, which lives in moderation, lives in fear of destruction. It's kind of honoring the waters around them, and so it's a very ocean-based religion, kind of how water gives life. Water can also take life. You got to be consistent with that. Another thing is that they believe in an afterlife of peace beyond the river for the faithful. Their leader is Priestess Elazar. She is a young woman who has recently been noted as a very powerful individual and has a part to play inside of their religious system with the prophecies that are currently in place. We will be talking about that during our during our campaigns. Moving on, we should be moving on now to diplomacy. By the way, just kind of anti everyone. Not that they hate everyone; they just don't want to hang out with anyone. Divine Duchy of Inversinia. Divine Duchy of Inversinia is a specifically blessed people. They believe they are people blessed by the ethereal Versia. She is kind of a deity of sorts. And there's a divine family that has been chosen. This divine family is led by Divine Duke Midall. And under Divine Duke Midall, there are the archbishops. Under the archbishops, there's the bishops, and so on and so forth. Basically, if you are part of the religious order, you have power. If you're not part of the religious order, you're just a guy or a gal in the world. But you are still supposed to worship. We'll be watching. We'll make sure that you worship correctly, by the way. Their ideals are faith, bloodline, order. They're very conservative, and they believe in honesty and morality. They do have a sense of licentiousness because of their chosen people kind of trait. Things to keep in note is that they specifically have rule over the Varantesian people. The holy state of Varantesia is just a vassal state to them, and they pretty much rule over Varantesia. Varantesia is just kind of a puppet state. The boundaries are particularly for their own sake. They are the chosen people. Varantesians are not. Varantesians are the people that have been kind of collected, quote unquote, as part of the group. Things to know is that other than that is that they import livestock and precious metals for their religious practices, but they export silk, wheat, and wood. Fun times. Moving on to Izumia. This is a duchy. They have a grand old time, but not a grand duchy. That's this. They are a vassal state to Lanumia. So they rule their own area, but really Lanubia rules over them. So the Duchess Thuzan, she responds directly to the Grand Duke, and she and the three counts of each different province work together, the four of them, to rule over Izumia. The people are just subject to their indefinite rule. If things change, they change. If not, they don't. Whatever, we're just hanging out in Izumia. But things to know is that they're not really hanging out. They're hard at work. They specifically are a very progressive area. They believe in the progress of like sciences and magic. Their ideals come from those, so they believe in the ideals of pleasure, of progress, freedom, destiny. If you have intellect, you're going to be highly valued here in Izumia. They import paper and corn and export bricks, wood, fish, books, carriages, chariots, the works. They resent Lanumia a little bit for the rule that Lanumia holds over them, but they also share religious order with the Baphultic nomadicism. So they have a little bit of ties with Lanumia there too. What is Baphultic nomadism? Well, let's talk about Lanumia as we do so. Baphultic nomadism is a thing of everyone dies, and as everyone comes to death, everyone will come to life again. It's a universalist view that people really are bad, but at some point they'll come around. Also, to keep a note is with the Grand Duchy of Lanumia, they have their leader Grand Duke Rudolph. He rules over everything in Lanumia, and then he has margraves that rule the provinces below. So there's 3 provinces inside here that are margraves, and they rule over the neighboring counts and their provinces. The people are just subject to them. They don't really have a choice. Diplomacy-wise, they're pretty neutral with everyone. They secretly kind of don't like everyone, but that's all right. They'll hang out with you. Midwestern kind, I guess. Eastern kind, kindness. Other thing is that they do have respect for the Versial people, so that'd be the Varentesians and the Inversinians. They just kind of have this unspoken happiness, unspoken allyship with them. I think that's the main things. They import wood and glass, and they export paper, wheat, fish, corn, and bricks. Their ideals are their utilitarian, hands-off living. They believe in pleasure and progress and in power. Those in power should stay in power. If those of power leave power, that's just how it goes. Yeah. Let's talk about the Holy States of Varentesia. We've teased them a lot. We've talked about them a lot already. Let's get into them. Their imports are wood, game, and exotic animals, particularly from Kennebonia, and they export wheat, spices, paper, and livestock all around them. Diplomacy-wise, they like pretty much everyone, but they don't like Inversinia because of Inversinia's rule over them. And they're a bit cautious of Kennebonia because Kennebonia is like this unknown people. And for a people, the Varentesians, who particularly treasure exploration and curiosity, they're a bit cautious of that. They also believe in freedom, forgiveness, equality, and they eventually, they kind of have a tendency towards being legalistic. Their major religion is shared with Inversinia, except for they have a separate sect almost. Whereas Inversinia believes they're the chosen people of the Holy Mother Versia, Varentesia believes that they're kind of the adopted kids in a good way, which Inversinia doesn't really believe, but they believe. So, yeah, there's a little bit of conflict there. Other than that, that's the main things of there. They have a governor ruling over them, and Varentes, this is Goodall. He rules over them, but he's entirely subject to what Inversinians say, so he's a puppet leader for them. Moving on, we're going through these I think quickly, but I guess it's already at 15 minutes. All right. Let's go to Kingdom of Kalma. With the Kingdom of Kalma, they import wheat, corn, and paper. They export metalwork, metal, and spices. A lot of blacksmiths in this area. And diplomacy-wise, they are friendly with everybody, but they are currently in talks, currently working through what they would like to do with Artradian tribes, since they have pretty much the exact same culture as a few of the Artradian tribes, and they're just like, why not just rule together? It'd be awesome. They dislike the Bafaltic duchies and the Stockholts, so basically, people that are close to them, they like, but the farther away from them you are, the more they dislike you. With the Kingdom of Kalma, they have their leader, King Edwin, and he rules in the Estill capital, which is right here. The Estill capital is a pretty strong place. It has, well, actually, there'll be some plot later. We'll talk about it. Their ideals are order, planning, strategy, honesty, generosity, wealth, which generosity, wealth, how can you have both? Well, if you have one, you get the other. And balance, especially balance in religion, since they currently have a religion called Celestialism, which is where they believe in the two main celestial deities, Kagia, which is the ethereal of the moon, and Arzo, ethereal of the sun. They have a bit of a deist view where, other than these two entities, they kind of believe that everyone's on their own. Finally, let's go on to the last people, the Stockholts, the people of the south. Now, one thing to note about this map is that the land of Morsheth, the Asgar, the map generator that I'm using, says, hey, this is the entire map of the world. That's not really the case. This is actually all takes place in the southern hemisphere of the world. So your equator is pretty much right about like here, I guess, kind of along the lines of the Artradans, Amalurans, and Azumians, maybe a little bit more north. That is to say, Stockholts are in the deep south. They get a lot of cold there. They are the people of the snow. Their imports are wheat, fish, silk, and livestock, and they export stone, precious metals, wood, and coal. With that, they have they're kind of suspicious of everybody. They kind of what we think of a northerner perspective of cold culture. So their cold culture makes them have an ideals of isolationism, self-protection, tradition, determination, and understanding. They want to have this understanding between people, especially as it pertains to religion. Their religion is the witnesses of Homslika. Now, Homslika was a supposed prophet of the ethereal Suva, and basically the prophet's main message is, hey, life is good. We know what life is about. We don't really know what death is about. So make sure to understand each other in life. Make sure to work on life and fear death, I guess. Their leader is Sir Stauffen. Stauffen is the Baron of Mikkelad, and you may say, okay, what is this? Well, it's a republic. How does that look? So how it works is that there is the High Council, led by Sir Stauffen of Mikkelad. Each province is made up of elected counts and barons of the land. Each one rules for a decade, and then they can be then a new person is elected in their place. Sweet. I kept this under 20 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys can use this to help you find where you want to live. And a keynote is that a lot of our things that happen will happen at Wittenbach. Basically, people are going to be, your characters are most likely, quote unquote, going to be called to Wittenbach for various reasons, but primarily to be part of the Wittenbach peacekeeping division. We'll talk about that during session 0. For now, just know you're awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed. I certainly did. Have a good one.